One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of things is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Do you sympathise with any voters who do feel offended by or insulted by the garbage comments?
I am running for president of the United States. I will be traveling to 3 states today to do what I have been doing throughout, which is talking with the American people about the fact that, first of all, I get it in terms of the concerns they have about challenges like the price of groceries.
Biden took his comment last night about garbage.
Listen, I think that, first of all, he clarified his comments, but let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
I want to get your reaction to the president's comments, but I want to put it into a larger context of your recent comment comparing the Sunday Trump rally to a Nazi rally. And I would also throw in there Obama's bitter clingers, guns and religion comment from a while back, the deplorable line from Hillary Clinton's campaign, and the way that Democrats are seen by some voters as disrespecting them. And I have to ask, does that undercut this closing message of unity from your campaign?
No, certainly not. And for Tony, for me, I've represented rural areas. I've represented Democrats, Republicans, independents. Same thing with the vice president. Look, you saw a presidential speech last night at the Ellipse that is the best of America, one that's talking about unifying us, one that's talking about bringing folks to the table, one that the American tradition of disagreeing and debating, but still doing it in a respectful manner. And I think there's the frustration we've seen since January 6th, the frustration with Donald Trump's rhetoric of division. It does fire passions. And I think President Biden was very clear that
they can't help themselves. There's no way out of this. The bear trap has clamped shut on them, and there's no way out of this. So today they had the chance to basically come clean and say, no, he doesn't speak for us. No, we're going to completely disavow it. But no, instead, they're Nazis and fascists. And nope, it doesn't have any bearing on what we've said. Okay, you want to run with that? Good for you.
He's speaking about the rhetoric. We heard it that, so it doesn't undermine it. People are hungry to come back together. They're hungry to find a unifying message. They're hungry for us to find solutions, whether it's prices or whether it's reproductive care. They want to see solutions.
That probably is true. People do want to see solutions. But the question, as I've said many, many times, that remains, you're vice president. Why haven't you done it? It can never be answered, and that's what's sinking her campaign. At this point, you have to realize that most of you, myself, Robin, we could probably run her campaign, because it's obvious at this point that these people really have no clue. I mean, absolutely no clue as to what to do. There's no way that this messaging that they're talking about makes any sense to anybody. And the only way that she even still has a remnant of a heartbeat is because the media will do anything, and I do mean anything, anything to cover for her. But at this point, people realize it's all BS, and they're beginning to tune out the media.
Say though, Bakari, he was in his house, the White House. He was in his house doing this, and
you're not going to believe this excuse. Hold on and wait.
And the reporting is that there are places that he can be useful, but he's not everywhere, like you might expect a sitting president to be for his vice president.
I don't know that I would expect this president to be everywhere in this moment. I mean, look, a critical element, any coach will tell you, any CEO will tell you, a critical element of running a team and winning is assessing the strengths and weaknesses of your team members and making sure you allocate them in the right way. Joe Biden has never been a big arena speaker. He's never been the most fluid speaker. And by the way, as someone who had a stutter growing up, it's very obvious to me that there's an apostrophe at the end of supporters there.
They actually went on a broadcast network and said that the reason it sounded that way is that Joe Biden has a stutter, and it's obvious that there was an apostrophe there. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Can I call you bro? You're shucking and jiving for the man right now. You are embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing all black people with this. You know, it's obvious that there was an apostrophe. That's their new thing. The stuttering thing, that doesn't make any sense either. But now they're trying to say there was an apostrophe in how he was talking. Let me ask you a question. Can you tell me the methodology for, I don't know, mouthing an apostrophe? I'm just saying, I don't know how I form my mouth or the word apostrophe. You see, you just tried to conflate something that's tight with something that's said. Basically, you're gaslighting America all over again. Hey, what you heard with your ears and saw with your eyes isn't really true. There's an apostrophe there. You just don't see it because it's not written. But you have to trust me that it's obvious that there was an apostrophe there. That's the kind of crap this media is saying. You know, I subscribe to a number of clipping services, so I don't have to go through all of the media. And now I'm going to have to basically probably unsubscribe from this clipping service. Why? Because they have rendered themselves irrelevant. They have nothing to offer anybody at this point. They must know it themselves, that all they've done is try to carry water for Kamala. They've propped her up like a jack under a messed up tire. They did everything they could to prop up this campaign, and she can't make it work. And now you look stupid, and you're trying to fix what happened last night, and the American people aren't that stupid. Of course, there are some. There are many on the left who will go with this apostrophe thing, because they heard an apostrophe. Oh, that meant apostrophe. That's the ludicrousness, the absurdity of the Democrat campaign, that they expect you to believe that what you saw and what you hear all the time is something else. Let me go ahead and clarify. I don't need any clarification. I don't need any clarification. Kamala, you screwed up. They threw you a softball. You could have just said he was wrong. You could have just come out your mouth and said, hey, what he said was wrong, He should have never said it. That's not presidential. That's not what I think. Couldn't say it. Oh, Joe clarified it. There's no clarification. The only thing there's clarification in is in politics. And it always seems to come in the form of a tweet or from somebody else. We know that Joe didn't make that clarification on X last night. Joe isn't asleep by then. 10:30. Joe, hey, what I meant to say was, no, I don't give a shit what you meant to say. None of us can go into our jobs and screw up and go, but what I meant to do, but what I meant to say, and especially in that position of president or vice president. Don't come to me with what I meant to say, what should have come out. It was your mouth, and what made it worse is he was reading it. We know he's not the one that goes out and ad-lib stuff, so they put that. Somebody typed that into the screen. And if they typed in an apostrophe, that's their fault. They should have never put those words together. Because there's no way to mouth and say an apostrophe. It's ludicrous. It's gaslighting on an epic scale.
He was referring to the garbage spewed by supporters, not simply the supporters themselves.
The only garbage I see out there are his supporters.
No, it is the deplorables moment again. I'm really surprised he said that, because when you're called human garbage, it motivates you to get off your rear end, off the sofa, and go and vote. I wouldn't do that in the 43 counties where people...
1 week away. Now we're less than 1 week away from voting. And this man, which I think might have been on purpose, maybe not from him, maybe from Jill or somebody, and said, how can we stick it to her right now with 1 week left? There's no coming back. It's impossible to recover from this. Nothing you can do at this point. Did somebody just put that there and have this old man sit up there and read a teleprompter and just come out and destroy her campaign? Maybe that's what she should have said. Maybe that's what the answer should have been. Hey, listen, I feel right now that I'm under attack. I think my president, who I've worked with for the last 3 years, doesn't want me to be president. We could believe that more. If she lied and said that, maybe she'd have a chance, but she's not going to do that. They'll never let her do it. And so Joe's sitting there giving her a shiv. I think he gave her the shiv.
Or saying, it may be raining, I don't think I'm going to do it. But the President of the United States just called me garbage. I'm a little pissed off about that. I think I'm going to go stand in line and I'm going to vote. I think that was a mistake, and I'm sure it's going to get a ton of social media tomorrow. I mean, I know he wishes he could take that back. He is the president of all that garbage. Remember, he represents everybody, including the garbage. I mean, that's crazy.
Yep, that is crazy. He's crazy. This race is crazy. And it's 7 days away until...
And now we're 6 days away. It's Wednesday, so it's 6 days away. There's not that many news cycles to change. At this point, Donald Trump won't. We know he's not that type of guy. But now, in football terms, this is when I would start playing the prevent defense. Let them screw up. Let them run around trying to razzle-dazzle. Let them try the flea flicker. Just be ready. Just be back here. Have your guys playing back, making sure nobody gets behind them. Stop. Let them have all this stuff in front because they don't have anything else. They can't score 8 points. They're going to have to score and get a 2-point conversion, and they've not shown a capability of doing that. That was supposed to be her closing argument last night, and Joe nuked it. Nobody's talking about what she said. They're trying to divert people back to what she said, but nobody cares. Joe said everybody's garbage. I'm sure when Trump gets on stage 2 times today, we got the 12:30 show and then we've got the 6:30 show tonight. 1 o'clock and then 6:30. He's going to say, hey, how are you doing, all you dumpsters out there? All you garbage receptacles. He may not use those words, but he's going to bring it up. There's no doubt that he's going to bring it up because it is the news right now. And so right now, don't say anything dumb. Just play prevent defense and run the clock out. That's all you got to do right now. Just get to Tuesday. They're making all kinds of mistakes. The Supreme Court ruled today, which we'll talk about in a second, but just run out the clock. They can't win. They can't win. Those of you who didn't play sports, who are worried, oh, what are they going to do about this or what are they going to do about that? They can't win. Like Dan Bongino said yesterday, we're begin to move into phase 2, which is prepare for what they do afterwards, but they can't win. And I get so many direct messages from people who say, Barry, stop saying that. You're going to be complacent. Let me just tell you, I played sports. When I'm up by 20, 30 points, I'm not complacent. I'm still going to stick you. I'm still going to make you feel like you shouldn't be on the field with me. In fact, I want to rub your face in it. But it doesn't mean that I'm not feeling really confident that there's not enough time on the scoreboard for you to catch up. I'm very confident, but I'm still going to play defense. I'm still going to send people out there and play offense. And so I guess there's a lot of people who just don't have a sports background, and they continually worry. Oh, don't say that because people might get complacent. Well, that's on them. I can't help people getting complacent and lazy. You can't help people getting complacent and lazy. Are we supposed to tamper down our enthusiasm and tamper down how our confidence feels because some losers can't get their asses off the couch? No. I want you to be enthused. I want you to be ready to accept that this man is going to win, that things are going to change very quickly. Do I think it's going to be a fight afterwards? Absolutely. Do I think he's going to win? Absolutely. So that's how I feel. Let's continue.
Election day. And apparently O'Leary's going to wait in line to vote right now.
Look, here's the October surprise. It just arrived. This is the basket of deplorables moment. That's what Hillary Clinton said in 2016 that tanked her campaign. Well, that's the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris moment right now. I am a little bit more cynical about this one, Sean, in the following way. It might look like Joe Biden's usual cognitive deficits kicked in, but the reality is we know his family is secretly probably rooting for Donald Trump, not Kamala Harris, to win because they feel really vengeful about how they were treated. So if you're in their shoes, you know that kind of comment is actually going to tank Kamala Harris. So we're going to put those kinds of motivations to one side. But regardless, it is a welcome October surprise because let's take a big step back. What's going on here? The wheels are coming off the car.
The wheels are coming off the car. What an apt description. You know, you can look at his face. The confidence is there. We all know what can follow, but this thing is an absolute train wreck. I mean, I've never seen a campaign make so many mistakes. And the reason why they're making so many mistakes, in my opinion, is she should never have been the candidate. When you're making this many mistakes, it's because you're trying to basically run with a Arena League football quarterback. This is someone who should not be in the league. She does not deserve to be even on the squad. Doesn't even deserve to be on the practice squad. She shouldn't be on the team. It's your fault you stuck this person in there. Yeah, and then made her, just basically appointed her, and now you want us all to feel bad because she shit in the bed. We all know who's competent and who's not competent. Joe, there's problems up there. Her, like Trump has said, she's probably worse. At least Joe has been in politics for 50 years. He might have been able to bluff his way through if it wasn't for the dementia. There's nothing there. She's an empty vessel. You could have brought in Chris Coons or anybody else, someone who has some experience, and you threw this woman to the wolves. She decided to accept it because she could have said, no, I'm not ready. But her pride didn't allow her to do that. You could have picked one of the senators. You could have picked Hakeem Jeffries. Anybody who's able to come across as a viable candidate. But you took the high school quarterback and tried to put him into the NFL, and it didn't work. So it's not just that the wheels are coming off of the campaign. There was never a campaign to begin with, and what you're seeing is the reveal. The reveal is happening, and now everybody sees a naked Kamala Harris, which I don't want to see, but there's truly no clothes on this empress. There's nothing there. And it's their fault for sticking her out there. Nobody else's.
They're spiraling. And now you see the accusations of the other side being Hitler or piles of garbage. You're going to hear a lot about threats to democracy in the next week. They are flailing, Sean. They understand Americans are not falling for their trick anymore. Donald Trump has a record that he's running on. They're frustrated by it. And I think it's, in some ways, a beautiful thing for our side to watch this completely come undone and turn the page on this ugly chapter of our history.
Tonight, there's new report.
It is beautiful to watch. It's what makes it more beautiful for me to watch is helping people see what's happening. So many people fell for the polls, the fake polls. So many pollsters expose themselves as being nothing but propaganda. This election, by Tuesday at 10 o'clock, even with the states that are trying to fake it, oh, we may not know for 10 days or so. They're not going to be able to do it. They're not going to be able to do it. There aren't enough holes for them to plug. Even with the newcomers, which is now going to be a problem. It's going to be a really big problem. And I want you guys all to know that before Trump. But we're going to get to that in a second. Here's CNN now coming clean.
About Joe Biden and a moment that explains why things are the way that they are. Sources tell CNN that the president is in do no harm mode, stapling himself to the bench.
It's the word she just used. Stapling himself to the bench. Shut up. Stay here. Don't friggin' move. Don't put your helmet on. You're never getting in. You're just a tackling dummy. Sit here. You're the water boy. They're never getting in. Staple yourself to the bench. They're saying this to the President of the United States. Understand, that's how much disrespect that the Kamala campaign has for Americans and the American institution. You're telling the President of the United States, who you said was fine, he was always fine. I was right there, the last person in the room, everything was great. And now you're telling him, hey, listen, go be a tackling dummy, take your ice cream, shut up, dip some oatmeal cookies in it, and you'll be okay, but never, 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 never talk again. You can't do it. Shh. Don't speak.
The direction of the Harris campaign. Well, even from the White House, he may have done some pretty significant harm in the final week of the campaign.
Governor, first off, just what's your response to that comment?
All right, now this response here, if you haven't seen it, is where you start seeing people who may have, aspirations in 2028. Josh Shapiro is who everyone thought she should have picked as her vice president, and she picked the milkshake guy. And Josh Shapiro, you can look on his face, he's not happy because now he's going into phase 2 for him. You see, a lot of people over the next week, you're going to see people shifting from supporting Kamala Harris to, I got to take care of my own business. I got to make sure that, about me. I plan on being here after she's driving home in a rent-a-car next Tuesday night. I still got business to do. And so Josh Shapiro, who wants to be a president, still is the governor of Pennsylvania, watch the stiff he gives her. He gives her a nice Heisman here.
From President Biden, where it sounds like he's calling Trump supporters their garbage.
Yeah, look, I had not heard that until now, Caitlin, so I'm kind of giving you my fresh reaction to it. I would never insult the good people of Pennsylvania or any Americans, even if they chose to support a candidate that I didn't support.
And that's where Kamala screwed up. She should have said that. Just come across and say, that old man messed up. I don't know if he didn't have his MAPO, if something happened, but I can't rock with him anymore. I just can't do it. But see, that's not where it ended. So what we got next is, of course, the idiots on Morning Joe, they're all in. The Joy Reids of the world, the Mika and the Joe and that whole host of characters with Reverend Al, they know their goose is cooked. They're done when she loses. So watch this chicanery.
And what he said was, and I'll just read a little bit here from the transcript. He just says that, I know Puerto Ricans from my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of Latinos is unconscionable and un-American. Now, some on the right have seized that comment to mean his supporters, meaning Donald Trump's supporters, meaning all Trump supporters, half the country, saying the president is calling them garbage. The White House is saying, no, there's an apostrophe there. He's talking.
How much crap is on your nose for you to get on a television network and say, no, there's an apostrophe there?
But his supporter, meaning the comedian, his comments are unconscionable and un-American. That's the controversy last night. The president took to Twitter soon after the Zoom, tried to clean it up, clarifying that he was not talking about all of the Americans, but it is certainly half the American public. But it is certainly a controversy that the White House and the Harris campaign.
See, the problem they have is they think only half the American public are offended. There are a lot of independents and a lot of Democrats who don't like the idea that a president of the United States called people garbage. There are a lot of black people, a lot of Puerto Ricans, a lot of Spanish people out there. Is like, is that how you really feel? They're garbage? And they're fascist? And they're Nazis? What else can we be? Aren't we just Americans?
Dealing with today, and as the right tries to make it, we're showing the tweet here.
It's either trying to blame it on the right. Look at the time stamp on here. It's 9:31. Anyone believe that Dementia Joe actually typed this up? So they're trying to use this post on X as, hey, Joe's, he's cleaning things up. There's no cleaning it up. It came out his freaking mouth. You know what would have been cleaned up? If at 9:30 he went back on television and said it. Nobody has seen him. Why didn't he said it on television? Why can't he say this on television? There's no credibility here. He could have said that on television. Earlier today, I referred to the hateful rhetoric that about Puerto Rico spewed by one of Trump's supporters at his Madison Square Garden rally as garbage. He could have just said it, but he couldn't. He was either in bed or they just figured out this'll work. Yeah, this'll work. This'll appease everybody, and our minions in the media will take care of it.
From the president, his demonization of Latinos is unconscionable, the president writes.
Did anyone, if you want to go back to the joke, did anyone hear him basically demonize Latinos? I'm pretty sure he said the island is a floating garbage dump, which it is. Didn't say anything about the people. Didn't say anything that the people were garbage. Joe said that.
That's all I meant to say. So the president said something.
See, that scares me. That's all I meant to say. When you say something like that, then it tells us and tells the American people and tells the world that you aren't able to communicate effectively. If you can't communicate effectively on a Zoom call, how can we trust that when you sit down and you're sitting across Putin or Xi or anybody else that you're going to, quote, communicate effectively? You see, there's no second chances when you're talking on that level. When you're talking to Netanyahu and Iran and everybody else, you can't go back to him and say, hey, oh, excuse me. Yeah, I didn't mean that. You took it wrong. Because at that point, you're putting Americans in danger. And Kamala's the exact same way. You cannot clarify communication to a world leader. It can't happen.
Immediately tried to clarify it, Joe, but it's certainly a story on the right who are trying to paint this to be the next basket of deplorables.
It is not painting it. It came out of Hillary's mouth. But the big problem that they're not really addressing is that Hillary was a candidate. It tanked her campaign. She was a candidate. Joe is the president. Kamala is the current vice president. They are leading America. However they got in there, their job is to lead America. And they came out, well, he did, and she didn't really disavow it, that Americans are garbage. So it's worse than the deplorable. At least if we're deplorables, we could laugh at it, make T-shirts, and say that's somebody who, yeah, this is the leader of the free world, as it's called.
Well, of course, and Donald Trump says shocking things every day in Fox News, and all of his apologists of the Republican Party immediately.
Can you tell me when Trump has gone after the American people? I'll wait.
Go to it and brush it off, explain it away, or just completely ignore it. Here, they're trying to make a firestorm out of something that, again, if you look at it, you look at what he said immediately afterward, which Donald Trump didn't say. He immediately afterwards said, no, that's not what I meant. I was talking about the comedian and people that supported that kind of talk. But, you know, Willie.
People who supported that kind of talk. What people are that, Joe? Because now you just stepped in it yourself. You're saying right now that all the people at the rally were okay with that joke. I'm pretty sure that's not true. I posted videos of people saying, I didn't think it was funny. Yeah, it was off color. But it's got nothing to do with Trump. You just very subtly tried to lay all that on Trump supporters.
Joe Biden obviously doesn't believe that. We had that.
That's the second time you've heard that word today, which is meant to diminish what you think. Obviously. You know, I sit up here in the studio. I'm sitting here with my sweatshirt. And I'm like, it's obvious at this point that you don't understand. You're too stupid. The rest of us elitists that are sitting in these studios, it's obvious to us, which should be obvious to you if you had, you know, our elitist brain.
I forget what state it was in, but it was during a hurricane. After a hurricane, I believe, and Joe Biden went in. And he went and he talked to the crowd, went over, talked to a guy who was a big Trump supporter, joked with him, put the hat on him. And again, trying to bring people together and even saying, hey, I'll wear your Trump cap. We're all on the same team. That's the type of leadership you want.
It's not the kind of leadership I want. It's not the kind of leadership my wife wants. It's not the kind of leadership my daughter wants. So you tell me, Joe, how is that viable leadership? Talking to Morning Joe. Tell us all how that is viable leadership. Because it's not. It's a ruse. And it's not working well for them. And they don't know what else to say. They don't know what to do at this point. Because it was said. It wasn't written. What was said was that we are garbage. I heard this morning, and people were showing it, that now the people here, in addition to suppressing Joe Rogan's videos with the interview with Trump, I'm just trying to get this thing set here, are now also suppressing the garbage comment. They're trying to make it seem like it never happened. But unfortunately, he said it, and it was on television. There's no getting away from it. None. No getting away from it. So, let me just show you a couple things that popped up on the horizon here. This was from Don Jr. Holy crap. The media spent all week crying about a joke from a comedian. Meanwhile, Tim Walz called Trump supporters Nazis, Kamala Harris refused to condemn it, and now Kamala's biggest Democrat ally, Joe Biden, is calling all Trump supporters garbage. Absolutely disgusting. And he's right. And Laura Ingraham says something really interesting here. The regime press is now so compromised, so in the tank, that they feel like they have no choice but to pretend that insults from a comedian are critical to how people vote. But insults from the President of the United States are irrelevant. Just kidding. This guy was a comedian who told one 20-second line of a joke hours and hours and hours before the meat of the rally, as you saw. And they are comparing a comedian to the vocal strength, the platform of the President of the United States. Anything else more desperate for you? This one here from Clay. So here's what Clay wrote. He was referring to this guy. Update. Biden's spokesperson tells Axios that the staff did speak to Biden about what he meant to say to inform the transcript. So a staff member went to Biden to ask him, what did you mean to say, so that we can put out some sort of clarification. So what you just did is you just confirmed that Biden didn't post that. We all knew it. Most of us knew it. But now thank you for confirming that he didn't post it. Well, these people have no way. They shouldn't even be in a campaign. Clay Travis responded, since when is any transcript a recitation of what someone meant to say? You can't do it in court. Oh, what I meant to say. No. Here's what you said. But I meant to say, no, that ain't going to cut it, bro. This is insane. The entire purpose of a transcript is to transcribe what was actually said. This is next level lying, even for the Biden White House. The recovery is not working. They are trying to do everything they possibly can to cover for this man, and it's not working. It's not working whatsoever. Then you get this one. This happened this morning. The Kamala Harris campaign is in full crisis mode. Following her speech last night, Harris urgently convened an emergency meeting with spokesman Ian Sams, the communications director Michael Tyler, campaign manager Julie Chavez, and deputy campaign manager Quentin Folks. Her campaign is leaking like a sieve to strategize on mitigating the fallout from Joe Biden's remarks referring to Trump supporters as garbage. During the meeting, Chavez remarked to Kamala that unless President Biden gets this crap under control now, we're effed. It's over. They know it. Now you know it. I've been telling you, this thing is over. She can't come back from it. It's absolutely, she can't recover. One thing that confuses people is that they think the anchors on CNN and MSNBC are actual journalists, which I've been telling you, they're not. Journalism is dead and was buried a long time ago. The reason these people are paid millions of dollars to sit in those chairs is because they are paid to lie. They are nothing but actors. That's all they are. They're entertainers at this point. You could never be as bad at your job as Joe Scarborough is and still have your job. He's paid to lie. Rachel Maddow, paid to lie. Jake Tapper, paid to lie. Dana Bash, paid to lie. Joy Reid, paid to lie. They are not journalists. Anyone who's ever taken one acting class could do their jobs. They read off of a script, they lie in service to the machine, and in service to the Democratic Party. It's not more complicated than that, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. And this is the most important part. That's why they want to censor everybody. Their lies are not working anymore. Enough of us are getting news elsewhere, mainly from social media, and thanks to Elon Musk, X can lead the way for other platforms regarding speech. That's why they're going after Elon Musk. That's why they have to take him down. They have no choice at this point but to find a way to get rid of this guy. It's driving them crazy. Their gaslighting is only working on a small percentage of people, and they don't know what to do. If you yourself would like to basically get some unfiltered news and you're not really sure how to use X, I invite you to go to our private X group, fanfareshop.org/group. Put that in your browser. It'll take you right to our private group on X, and you're going to see why we didn't do a membership on YouTube, because as soon as you get in there, you're going to join, as we're approaching 7,000 patriots, and that 7,000 patriots are doing things I never imagined. Maybe even they didn't imagine. And it's all free. I'm not charging you for a membership on YouTube so you can just post a comment. You're posting comments right now. That's not a membership. A membership is you becoming part of the media, sharing content, filming content, talking with other people, and that's what you're going to see when you join that group. You're going to see all kinds of people talking about real things that they have seen online, and they're vetting stuff and they're sharing it just as it was intended to be, not filtered. The only thing I ask you, there are a lot of Christians in our community, so kind of ease with the profanity. There's a profanity filter on it, which will basically hide your post if you say those types of words. We just don't say them. You'll be okay. All right, so before Trump comes on, and I'm seeing they've got some warm-up speakers on, I want to make sure to bring you this bit of news. This is friggin' huge.
Yeah, Harris, this is a stunning ruling by a federal judge who is ordering Virginia to reinstate individuals who have self-identified as non-citizens back on the voter rolls.
So last week, this is Glenn Youngkin talking to Fox. Some idiot judge in Virginia said, hey, you got to put these non-citizen newcomers back on the voting roll. You can't take them off. That's bad. You can't do that.
And what's even more astounding is the vast majority of these folks had presented immigration documents confirming that they were non-citizens, and we recently had that.
Imagine that. The Department of Justice sued Virginia and has sued other states to force people to keep newcomers and non-citizens, I guess that's the same thing, on voter rolls. Why? Why would they do that? Just think to yourself, why would Biden's Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, sue state governments to force them to allow newcomers on their voting rolls?
Verified by federal authorities. So here we are with a judge saying, put people back on the voter rolls who you know are non-citizens. And this is under a law in Virginia that's been in effect since 2006. It has been applied by Republican and Democrat governors alike into this 90-day period. And here we are 11 days before a presidential election. And
like I said, this was last week when this happened.
Federal judges ordering them back on the voter rolls. It's astounding to me that this could possibly happen. I mean, listen, common sense says non-citizens aren't on the voter rolls, but the Constitution and the law say it as well. And that's why we are immediately petitioning the Fourth Circuit for an.
So the Fourth Circuit might have been dragging their feet. And so what Youngkin and his people did, they jumped it and went directly to the Supreme Court of the United States.
Emergency stay here on this injunction, and we will immediately go to the U.S. Supreme Court if necessary.
Alert, the U.S. Supreme Court just
this is this morning
got involved in making sure the election is fair. Along straight ideological lines, the High Court has just cleared the way for Virginia to remove non-citizens from its voting rolls.
Now understand what she said, along ideological guidelines. It was a 6-3 decision. The 3 liberal judges felt it was okay to leave non-citizens on the voter rolls. Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson all said, no, there's no problem with that. Just go ahead and leave them. Just leave these people on the voting rolls. That's why they were put there. Every time Kamala Harris gets on stage and says that Trump handpicked these 6 people to undo Roe v. Wade, no, they were following the Constitution. They don't want judges to follow the Constitution. They want judges to basically back up their ideology. They sued that state in Virginia to force people to put them back on the voter rolls. It's disgusting.
Basically upholding Virginia's election laws. Former U.S. Attorney Andy McCarthy moments ago.
It's the only result that really makes sense. What Virginia was trying to do was take people off the ballot who are not voters because they're not Americans, and that's by their own admission. And this idea that this could prevent or mistakenly result in American citizens from Virginia not being able to vote is bogus, because under Virginia law, let's say they've taken you off the ballot mistakenly. Under Virginia law, if you show up to vote on election day and you attest that you are an American citizen.
Matt Whitaker, former acting U.S. Attorney General and Trump campaign surrogate, with me now. So you have looked at this issue before this quick vote or quick ruling by the U.S. Supreme Court. By the way, we've just heard Governor Glenn Youngkin is at an event right now. He's going to step up and call into us just moments from now. I want to let the audience know that. But so this seemed very quick, Matt.
Yeah, it does, but it's a pretty simple issue, and the issue is whether or not these were individual voters that were.
It's really easy because it's in the Constitution. So when the Supreme Court opened up the filing and went, well, it's clear right here. If you're not from here, you can't vote here. It's shut and dry. I can't believe the other three said, no, it's okay. They can vote. Well, no, we can't do that. We have, they're here in the country. They should be able to vote. That's what the Democrats actually wanted.
Being cleaned off the rolls, or whether it was systematic cleaning of the rolls. And obviously the district court and the appeals court suggested it was systematic, but the state of Virginia was adamant. These were individual non-citizens. And remember, it's illegal for a non-citizen to register and say they're a citizen. It's also illegal for a non-citizen to vote. And they should expect, if they do vote illegally, they will be prosecuted.
So what's interesting about that, then, is it really goes in concert with what Virginia's law is over this issue and what the governor has told me on this very program when this popped up last week with a lawsuit from the Justice Department. And that is simply, you check a box saying whether or not you're a non-citizen, or you leave it blank. They both accomplish the same thing. You're in question now, and you have to cure that in several ways. The state gets in touch with you to repair that. So this.
Now understand, we're less than a week away from the election. So all those people who were purged, and all those people who may still be purged if they allow more purging, don't have time to have this stuff cured. You're off. You're done at this point.
This isn't just a matter of someone thinking so-and-so was a non-citizen.
No, that's a good point, Harris. And, you know, if you are taken off the rolls, there's a way to cure that. And you pointed out they send you a letter. You can cure it before, or you can go to the polls on Election Day, attest that you're a citizen, and vote. So there's many ways to make sure that this doesn't violate people's ability to vote. But remember, it is illegal for non-citizens to vote and for non-citizens to register and say they're a citizen.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
I love that GIF. I'm sorry. I had to include that GIF because to me it's absolutely incredible. At this point, I'm going to be the one. I'll say it at this point. I think Trump just got Virginia handed to him. I think the Supreme Court just right now said, yeah, you can't do that. You're not going to be allowed to have these people vote. And Virginia, which was going to be really close now, I think just shifted into the Trump camp. When you put these two things together, not one by themselves, they're not exclusive. When you put these two things together, this dude just called everybody garbage, and now the Supreme Court said the newcomers can't vote. That spells big trouble for the Kamala Harris campaign. So now they're having, as I mentioned earlier, to try and plug all these holes in the dam. Now they've got two big holes that they can't fix, which is why, you know, Trump's in North Carolina. It looks like he's moments away, they're saying. And she pulled all of her money out of North Carolina, and she's directing it to Virginia because now they're trying to basically bring reinforcements to save Virginia. I don't think she can. I think at this point they know her chances of winning are sliding and sliding and sliding, and just pray that Trump doesn't have any missteps, because at this point it's him. I can show you Poly Market really quick just to wrap this up, the pre-show, and it's 66.1 to 33.8. It ain't looking good. It's just not looking good. She's not going to be able to do it. I'm not being overconfident. I just know at this point you got 6 days, and it's not really 6 days. Let's be honest here. Today is Wednesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Then you got Thursday, and then Friday. They call it the news dump because everybody in the studios is gone all weekend. So you're going to lose 3 days. You're going to lose Friday, you're going to lose Saturday, and you're going to lose Sunday. You got college football, you got NFL, you can't compete, there's no room, there's no air in the media. to overcome that stuff. You're done. And then Monday is basically the day before the election, which you can't do anything. So you don't have a week to recover. You've got literally 2, maybe 3 days. You got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's it. That's it. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Trump's got 2 events today. He's got 2 events tomorrow. And I believe he's got 1 on Friday, which I will check. Her big event, which they spent a crap load of money on, was last night, and Joe killed it. So I don't know how she recovers. You guys can tell me if you think she can recover. But I do know media, and I do know Saturday and Sunday, done. The Sunday talk shows, worthless. Saturday, football, and Sunday, football. So we're moments away from Trump taking the stage, so let me just talk to you guys. I love seeing everything come to light. Trump said there was cheating, and we are seeing it. He said, if you cheat, you're going to go to jail. No bones about it. Absolutely. Yeah, Virginia, I believe he takes Virginia at this point. If they've reduced the cheating to the point where they can't do that, remember that Youngkin is a Republican conservative governor. So I believe he's put as much safety guards in place as possible. And that's a state they have to win. So North Carolina, they pulled the money out of. Georgia, I don't know what Brian Kemp's doing, but Trump keeps talking positively about Brian Kemp for some reason. Not really sure. So he must feel comfortable. Every time he brings up Georgia, and Brian Kemp's doing a hell of a job down there. So unless he's sending him, I don't know. But he seems to be confident in Georgia. So right now, which I'm sure he booked this North Carolina one before he found out about all this, but Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan, those 3, she has to win all 3 of those. Even with those 3, it's still going to be tight if she loses Virginia, which she may. So I'm still feeling comfortable about a landslide. The rally tonight, just so you guys know, is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it's with Brett Favre. So what you're going to hear in the news all day long is about how Brett Favre is a scammer and all this other crap, except for the fact that Brett Favre was a Hall of Fame quarterback with the Green Bay Packers. I don't care what the people in New York think. I don't care what the people in Washington think. I don't care what the people in Florida think. Is he held in high regard in Wisconsin? Yes, he is. Okay, that's why it makes sense. So these people in their studios in New York and people on Twitter, or X rather, talking crap about Brett Favre don't matter. It only matters to the people of Wisconsin. It's sort of like down here in South Florida. You guys in your states, you can say anything you want about Dan Marino. You can say Dan Marino is this and Dan Marino is that and he did this. Dan Marino basically, he's not Jesus, so he's not walking on water, but he's close in South Florida. Dan Marino, if he ran for governor, would probably win governor of the state of Florida. They don't care what he's done financially, don't care what he's done with his personal life. Dan Marino could probably win Florida as governor. Doesn't matter what the other states think. You can say he was a bum, he never won a Super Bowl, blah, 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 whatever. Down here, the guy's got almost sainthood. Brett Favre in Wisconsin, pretty much the same. Hey Marcus, welcome back. If Virginia flips, so will Pennsylvania. Yep. The Supreme Court ruled that, we just covered that they can purge all their stuff. In New Jersey, I've been hearing some really, really weird stuff in New Jersey. Long lines to vote. Exactly, Jay Smith, you're right. Peyton Manning in Tennessee, he could probably run for governor in Tennessee, and I understand he's still popular in Indiana as well. But in Tennessee, if Peyton Manning decided he wanted to be governor of Tennessee, they shouldn't even have an election. It would be over. Absolutely over. People regard these sports heroes way up here, and somebody who's such a great Hall of Famer like Peyton Manning and a great Hall of Famer like Dan Marino, these people bring out a cult following all their own. Even with as crappy as the Dolphins season is doing down here, people are like, we should just bring Dan Marino back and just let him. I mean, literally, they still talk like if Dan Marino could still play. It's crazy. Do you remember when if you don't follow college football, you probably don't remember when the storied coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Phil Fulmer, was retiring, or they wanted to fire him or whatever. They went to Peyton Manning and said, so you want the job? No, I ain't doing it. Oh, okay. Yep, California, they may vote Steve Garvey in, Hall of Fame baseball player. Absolutely. And the man is coming out right now. So let's go ahead and get ready to take the picture. Let you guys see him walking out. Obviously, I got to kill the sound. Here we go. Oh, by the way, I posted a great movie, not a tweet, not a video, an actual movie in our fanfare private group on X. Dinesh Souza, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, produced a full-length movie. It's like 2 hours. It's freaking fantastic. Get a big bucket of popcorn, get your honey sitting next to you, and watch this movie. I mean, it's literally 2 hours worth your time. Join a fanfare private group. Get in there. I pinned it to the top. That movie is absolutely fantastic. I give it my full endorsement. He did a great job talking about Vindicating Trump is the name of the movie, and it's pinned to our page. All right, Donald Trump is on stage. And let me get rid of this comment so you can see. And as soon as he comes on, as always, what I'd like you guys to please do is let me know how the sound is once he begins talking. When he gets done saluting the fans. This rally is taking place in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Rocky Mount, North Carolina, beautiful place. Sort of on the east side of North Carolina, near the coast, right by I-95. So that's where it is. And it froze up. Once in a while, these feeds do freeze up. Portuguese pronunciation. Okay, fake. I love when you guys get me on my mispronunciations. Sosa. Dinesh Sosa. That's how you say it. California state. Yeah, get rid of Newsom. Angie, you watched it this morning. Okay. Angie, what did you think about the movie? Did you like it? Let us know. YouTube has you lacking. I know people say that sometimes. There's nothing I can do about that. All right, Trump's approaching the microphone. Let me know how the sound is once he starts talking. Look at that smile. Oh my gosh, he knows something.
Well, thank you very much, North Carolina. You are a special group of people. In fact, my beautiful little grandchild, the most beautiful little girl you've ever seen, is named Carolina. Do you know that? I'm thrilled to be back in this incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. But I'd like to ask you one very simple, easy to answer question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think so. I'm here today with a message of hope for all Americans with your vote in this election. Oh, it's coming up so nice. We're down to 6 days, maybe sort of 5. Maybe 5 the way you count it. 6 days, can you imagine? I will end inflation. I will stop the massive invasion of criminals into our country. And I will bring back a thing called the American dream. Isn't that nice? Because we haven't had that. We haven't had that in a long time. Our country will be bigger, better, bolder, richer, safer, and stronger than ever before. And this election is a choice between whether we'll have 4 more years, think of this, 4 more years of gross incompetence, the most corrupt, horrible people. These are horrible people. Oops, we should get along with everybody. They're horrible people. You know, some people you just can't get along with. You can't. But whether we're going to have 4 years of incompetence and failure, or whether we'll begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country. That's what's going to happen. And I'm asking you to be excited about the future again. You have to be excited about it. We have a great potential. If we have to go another 2 days beyond that term, we're not going to have a great. We have to get this done now because we're not going to have a second chance. There'll never be a second chance. It's too far gone. We're really, we are a failing nation. We are a nation in decline. But don't worry, we will not be a nation in decline for too much longer, I'll tell you. We'll be a nation of incline as opposed to decline. But I'm asking you to dream big again. You're going to have to dream big again. It's going to be hard for you to do that because you've gone through a long period. But we had some great 4 years. This will be America's new golden age. This will be better than what we had even 4 years ago. Remember, we were energy independent. We had everything. Every problem facing us can be solved, but now the fate of our nation is in your hands. And this is a very important state. Number one, I love the state. Number two, we've always won. I won the primaries and I won the elections, and I didn't have to worry about it. So, if you think 2016, we did great. 2020, we did much better, actually. They say, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. We only got about, 12 million more votes, right? But this is the best of all. This is more enthusiasm than there was for even 2016 or 2020. This is the best. Nobody's ever seen it. I just saw General Kellogg, wherever he may be backstage. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Look at that general. He's a real general, not like Millie. Not like Billy. Not like Kelly. Low. He's a low IQ guy. But this is a real general. He's great. But he said backstage, this reminds me, sir, of 2016. I said, thank you very much. That's a good reminder, isn't it? He's a great guy. This Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough, that you're not going to take it anymore. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here, Kamala. Get the hell out of here. The worst vice president, the worst border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border in the history of the world that allowed criminals to pour through. 21 million people, think of it. Well, we're running a campaign of solutions to save America, an America which they have virtually destroyed during their almost 4-year period of rule. Kamala Harris, a low IQ individual, is running a campaign of hate, anger, and retribution. See, I'm very nice to them. They're not nice to me. She spends all of her time complaining about everything, but does nothing about it. She's going to do this, she's going to do that. Why the hell didn't she do it, right? So now she's talking about what she's going to do on the border. Well, I'm going to do this and that and this and that. All they had to do was leave the border alone. We had the safest border in the history of our country. In fact, to prove it, put up my chart, that favorite chart. I love that chart. I love that chart. That was the day I left office. We had the lowest number ever. The day I left office was where the red arrow is on the bottom. And then it became like an Elon Musk rocket ship, right? Look at that. Look what happens to it. Right after that, it went to hell. They let it go to hell. We had remain in Mexico. You couldn't come into our country. I had to remain. You think that was easy to get from Mexico? I had to be very threatening. I always said, you're not going to do it? No, sir, we're not. Why would we do that? I said, because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a 100% tariff on your cars coming in. Sir, Took me about 1 minute. They went from, we will absolutely not do that, sir. Why would we do a thing like that? Remain in Mexico. They have to remain in your country. I said, no. I tell you why. You know why? They went from that to saying, sir, we would be delighted to do whatever you'd like, whatever you. Now I said, we're going to put 100% tariff on your cars if you don't do it. So they said, we'd love to have our people we would love to have MS-13 gang members, criminals, people from mental institutions stay in our country. It would be our great honor, sir. It was really amazing. It took less than a minute. Or what she's going to do about inflation. I'm going to do things about, she caused the inflation. By screwing up my energy policies, she caused the inflation. And spending way too much money on the Green New scam. She caused it. But why didn't she do something about it, right? Or what she's going to do to get the economy going. We're going to do this and that. Oh, by the way, her plans are the plans of a simpleton. They're not going to work. We'll be in a depression like 1929. What we're going to do to get the economy. But why didn't she do it? Why didn't she do all these things? She's saying, we're going to do this. She's trying to disassociate herself from Sleepy Joe Biden. I like this audience. Scream. I didn't say it. Well, the guys, who just said that? He can handle himself. They scream, she's an idiot. But I didn't say it. I didn't say it. In fact, I'd like to admonish you, sir, you should not say that, please. This way, the press can't get me. You know, they say, well, I know you want to. It's really good. Well, no, I don't accept that. So I would never accept a thing like that. No, but she is. He can handle himself, that guy, too. She and Crooked Joe head up the worst administration in the history of our country. They've made Jimmy Carter look like a truly great president. In all fairness to Jimmy, he didn't let 21 million people, many of them criminals and those that are mentally ill, pour into our country. Jimmy Carter didn't allow that to happen. Last night, Kamala made a speech, not much of one, with a paid-for audience, and all she talked about was Donald Trump.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I will speak about Donald Trump. 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 Trump.
Do you believe it? Because she and Joe have no achievements, only failure and gloom. See, that was so perfect. It worked out perfectly. I said, how am I going to say? Normally you'd stop and you'd say, please take a look at the video. But I have some very talented people. I say, when I say Donald Trump, you just let that go. They did a good job. And then I finished the sentence, because they have no achievements, because they're a disaster. She suffers from a very serious disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome. TDS, sometimes referred to as TDS, it's quite serious. It's inflicted havoc on some lives. But many Democrats suffer from that disease, and it's only because of one reason, because we're winning. This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. And they mean it. even though without question my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lying Kamala. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You just can't. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. And there's a lot of hatred there. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. She doesn't have the intellect, the stamina, or that special quality that real leaders must have to lead. We know what that is. It's a special quality. Joe Biden's comments were the direct result of Kamala's and Tim Walz, you know? You know who that is? His decision to portray everyone who isn't voting for them as evil or subhuman. You're not subhuman. I'm looking at you. You are not subhuman. And we know it's what they believe because look how they've treated you. They've treated you like garbage, frankly. They've treated you like garbage. You know what? The truth is they've treated our whole country like garbage, whether they meant to or not, because they're grossly incompetent people. And they've destroyed our country. Our country is suffering right now like it's never suffered with inflation. And with the infliction, think of it, they've allowed millions and millions of people to come into our country that are criminals, that are the highest level criminals. 13,099 Border Patrol, which endorsed me, by the way, very strongly. And it wasn't like I had any competition. 13,099 murderers, many of them murdered more than one person. 13,000, these are the numbers from Border Patrol during their term. 13,099 murderers were let into our country. You have drug lords, you have terrorists, you have people from mental institutions. They're all let into our country. And I actually feel it's number 2 or number 3 on the list of things. Number 1 is the economy. Number 2 is inflation. Number 3 is what they've done to our border, what they've done to our country. They call it immigration. It's not immigration. It's horrible. It's horrible. And I think that it's, frankly, should be number 1 on the list. I think inflation's terrible. What they've done with inflation is gross incompetence. But when they allow 21 million people, and it's probably much more, that doesn't even include the gotaways, you know, gotaways. These are people that just run across the border. What they've done to our country is never, there's never going to be an excuse for what they've done to this country. For the past 9 years, Kamala and her party have called us racist, bigots, fascists, deplorables, irredeemables, Nazis, and they've called me Hitler. Call me Hitler. You know, many years ago, I had a father who was a great guy. He was a strong guy, a legitimate guy, strong. But you know, he always used to tell me, never use the word Nazi and never use the word Hitler. Now we're called Nazis, and I'm called Hitler. I'm not Hitler. Boy, my father, he's looking down. Well, my mother, I know she's looking down. My father is a little questionable because he was a little rough. I think he's looking down because he was a good guy. He was a strong guy, but he was a good guy. But he's looking down. He said, can you imagine? That's what they're calling my son. I told them for years, literally never use the term Nazi or Hitler. Now they're using it on us. It's unbelievable. They've bullied you. They've demeaned us. They've demonized us and censored us and deplatformed us and weaponized the power of our own government against us. They've gone after their political opponent, me. It's unbelievable. Did you see? Donald Trump wants to put us in jail. Donald Trump is going to go after some of the scum that you see back there, that's so dishonest. Donald Trump is doing horrible things. He wants to put us in prison. That's what they've been trying to do to me for 3 years. They got the story mixed up. And we won the big case in Florida already. We're doing very well. We're doing very well. Remember? Oh, we got him in Florida. That was the documents case, and I had the Presidential Records Act and lots of other things. But Joe Biden had the same case except times 10, because he took it out when he wasn't president. He did a lot of things. And they found him guilty, but they let him go because he was mentally incompetent. But they said he could be president. So they said, he can't stand trial. He's mentally incompetent. He's got no memory. And he's just got it. He just doesn't have what it takes, okay? But think of this. Here's the ruling. He can't stand trial because he's mentally incompetent, but he can be the president of the United States. Figure that one out. Mr. Congressman, figure that one out, Hudson. Can you imagine? They have taken your money. They've thrown open your borders to criminals and terrorists. They've flooded your towns with deadly drugs and death. They've given you jobs to illegal migrants and sent our blood and treasure to fight really stupid foreign wars, countries that you've never heard of, countries that you and your children have never even heard of. This Tuesday is your chance to stand up and declare that you are not going to take it anymore. You're not going to take it. 6 days from now, we can turn the page forever on this failed and corrupt administration. They are corrupt. They're failed and they're corrupt. They're the worst administration. Joe Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. And his partner, now she's trying to convince everyone, oh, well, I really had nothing to do with anything, you know. I'm sure he loves hearing that. She is the worst vice president in the history of our country. By the way, if you go back a few months, everybody was saying she's the worst vice president. She's incompetent. She's a dope. She's everything you can imagine. All of a sudden, they decided they better get politically correct, okay? And they chose her over 12 people that are far more competent. We can declare once and for all that we are done with their hatred. We are done with their hysteria. We are done with their hoaxing, lying, cheating, scheming, plundering, and stealing. And we're not going to let them divide and destroy America any longer. And that goes for Barack Hussein Obama, too. He's a divider. He's a divider. And Michelle, oh, she said bad things about me. Ooh. Michelle got out there the other day. Oh, I've been very nice to her. I guess that means I don't have to be nice anymore, right? Oh, I'm looking forward to this. No, Obama was a great divider. He was a great, great divider. What we have built is the biggest, broadest, most incredible coalition and the greatest political movement in American history, I think in any history, if you want to know the truth. It's made up of the hardworking men and women who make this country run, who make this country great. We've brought together veterans and union members, soldiers and steelworkers, farmers and auto workers, and patriotic moms and dads of every race, religion, color, and creed, right? We're welcoming historic numbers of African Americans and Hispanic Americans and Asian Americans and Arab Americans. And we're uniting Christians and Jews and Catholics and evangelicals and Muslims and Mormons and everyone who simply wants one thing. They want one thing: to make America great again. That's all they want. Our campaign has been endorsed by the 400,000 members of the Fraternal Order of Police. And I don't believe there's a police organization in America that hasn't endorsed us. And I don't believe there's even a single policeman or policewoman, a cop. That's another thing. My father always used to say, never call them cops. That's disrespectful. I don't know. I think, look, I'm going with my father. So we're going to say policeman or policewoman. Never call them cops. That's disrespectful, son. I don't know. Makes sense? If my father said it, I do it. But think of that. I don't think a single policeman or policewoman has endorsed her. She was a leader of defund the police. That's hard to get an endorsement. Yes, I was in charge of defunding the police for 10 years. I'd love to have your endorsement. But then we had the Border Patrol agents who were so incredible. For 4 years, they haven't called her. She hasn't called. Think of this. 4 years. I said, has she ever called? Has Biden ever called? Sleepy Joe? No. I said, you don't mean no. You mean maybe they haven't called you, but have they called you? We had the top 10 leaders up. They gave me the best endorsement you've ever heard. And the worst statement about her, they said she's grossly incompetent. And then she's supposed to be running. I don't believe, they say it's like a close race. I can't believe it's a close race. Not that I just can't believe it. But I said, did she ever call you? No, sir. Never once. I said, you mean in almost 4 years? No, she never called, sir. Never once. Nobody. She never called anybody. She was in charge of the border, whether you call her borders or she doesn't want that name anymore because it was so bad. She did such a bad job. But she was in charge of the border. Think of this. And she never called Border Patrol one time in 4 years. By the rank and file membership of the Teamsters who endorsed us, I will tell you the Teamsters, we got 62% or something. And I got the endorsement. Oh, what a beautiful endorsement, because I love brilliant people. We don't have too many of them. We have to protect our brilliant people. There aren't too many of them. There aren't too many of them, period. But a certain guy that took a rocket that's 22 stories tall and came back down, and those thrusters went off, and I said, oh no, it's going to crash into the gantry, it's going to crash, it's going to be terrible. But it didn't. It came down, and it was just about ready, and then the fire blew out of the bottom on the left side, and it moved it over, and then it came here, and it came down, and those two big arms grabbed it. Like you grab your baby. Like you grab your baby, right? Elon Musk gave us a great endorsement. And I just spotted somebody. I didn't know he was going to be there. Is that who I think it is? My eyes are what they. You stand up, please, would you? Huh? Yes. How are you? Huh? And look at these two. Look at these two. These two ladies have been with us, and this guy has been by their side right from the beginning. In fact, they take the place oftentimes of some of our front row Joes. So very successful people. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But Elon gave us an endorsement that was beautiful. He said, it's the most important election we've ever had. If Trump doesn't win, and he doesn't, he wants to he's a very straight shooter. If Trump doesn't win, he said, we don't have a country anymore. We're not going to have a country. And it was amazing, actually. And you know where he is right now? He's campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. Can you imagine? He told me something very interesting. He said, for an election to be really on the up and up, you have to use paper ballots. He said that to me. Now, here's a guy who I would say is the all-time genius at computers. He was telling me that when you see those rockets firing, he said the computers are more important than the engines. I understand. He knows more about computers than anybody I've ever met, and I know some pretty smart people. I had an uncle that was at MIT, a professor for 41 years, the longest-serving professor ever. I have that. It's something in my blood about that. Elon knows more about computers than anybody there is. Every time you see those rocket ships land, like in the ocean on a raft with a circle, boom. It's like unbelievable, right? And he said, for purposes of voting, because there's never a computer that's not easily cracked, easily if you're a genius, more difficult if you're less than a genius. But he said the best way to have an election is very simple. Paper ballots, voter ID, proof of citizenship, same-day voting. And he said same-day voting. And there's a guy who's the number one computer guy. You would think, it's interesting. Paper ballots would cost 8% of what you have. Now I'm hearing all sorts of stories. We're not going to have the result by Tuesday night. We spend all this money on computers. If you go back to paper ballots, and it's watermarked. Paper is now very sophisticated, believe it or not. It's all watermarked. You can't play around with it. They can check it immediately. It's all, identified. But paper ballots, so think of it. 8%, it would cost 8% of what the machines cost. Now, they hate when I talk about this, but I just want to see one thing. I don't care whether it's machines or whatever's going to be the best, but if paper's the best, paper, one-day voting. You know why? Because we don't want the air conditioning to be fixed. Excuse me, you'll have to move those ballots in that room. We're going to fix the air conditioning. Oh, where are we going to move them? Well, let's move them out of the place for a little while. We'll move them back next week. Oh, where are they? There were 14 boxes. Now there's 6. What happened to the rest of them? No. One-day voting. You have one-day voting. We used to have one-day voting. By the way, France went back to paper. France had 39 million people. They had voter ID. They had proof of citizenship. That's all. They didn't have mail-in. Mail it. How about California? They mail out about 38 million ballots. 38. It's like you're throwing them off a building. 38 million, and then they get sent back somewhere. Nobody knows where. And then they always announce that the Republicans are about 5 million short, without fail. Because I believe that if we had an honest election, if God came down from on high, and God said, I will be the voting tabulator for the day, I believe I would win California because I do great with the Hispanics. I believe I'd win. We need God as our vote counter just one day every 4 years. We won't even go after the 2. We won't even talk about for the Congress people that we have sitting all over the place, just for the presidential elections. If we had God, oh boy, would it be a lot easier and a lot better. The other thing we need is we need an honest and respected press. We don't have that. So I want to thank Elon Musk, and I just thought I'd give you his words of wisdom, but that's what he said. He said paper ballots are the way to go, and it's the only way to go. And you're talking about a fraction of the cost. And you would have the election determined, solidly determined by 9 o'clock or 10, whatever time you want. They put them in boxes, they seal the boxes, they hand the boxes. Every box has so many. You would have an accurate count by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock, whichever hour you chose. And they had that in France. It ended at 10 o'clock. The vote was broadcast. Nobody said, oh, I won or I did. It was, everyone went home. They had a winner and they had a loser. Everybody went home. It's a shame. And we're talking about for a fraction. If you said it costs 10 times more, you should do it. But it costs only about 8% of what they spend for machines that send these results to who knows where. Very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Last time we got more votes than any sitting president in the history of our country. But we lost, they say. They say we lost. We're also endorsed by somebody that loves healthy people. He wants to make our country so healthy. And he's a great guy. Now, he wants to make our country. He also has a big thing on the environment. And I'll tell you what, I say, that's okay, but you can't touch our liquid gold, Robert. Bobby Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr., and he's going to work, and he's very strong on, the pesticides and all of the different things. And you know what? We don't have a very healthy country. When you look at our country compared to other countries, we are not a healthy country. And he says, we're going to make it a healthy country. I say, good, Bobby, but do me one favor. Don't touch the oil and gas. Let me handle that. I'll handle the oil and gas. We're not going to let him get involved. We're not going to let him get involved in the oil and gas. Well, listen. No, we'll watch that. We're going to be very careful with our liquid gold. That's one of the biggest assets we have as a country. We have more liquid gold than anybody, including Saudi Arabia, Russia. Tulsi Gabbard came in, highly respected, a woman of great common sense. And they just gave me the name because I've had great respect, but I didn't know exactly why they had him on. Buzz Aldrin, very respected, the great astronaut, and highly respected. But I thought it was an unusual because we have a lot of people that endorse us, and and you notice the Washington Post and Los Angeles Times and all these papers, they're not endorsing anybody. You know what they're really saying? Because they only endorse Democrats. They're saying, this Democrat's no good. They're no good. And they think I'm doing a great job. They just don't want to say it. Washington, and USA Today, congratulations. I just heard USA Today has not endorsed. They said, we're not going to endorse. That means that they think she's no good. But Buzz Aldrin's very interesting because great astronaut, but he's not the youngest person in this room, but he's a very sound man and great, looks fantastic. What he did is he said, I've never endorsed anybody in my life before, like General Kellogg. I've never endorsed, of course, he started endorsing me approximately about a minute after I announced I was running, but that's because he's a smart general, right? 1 minute. Was it 1 minute or was it 30 seconds? But Buzz Aldrin, for the first time in his life, he said, this is the first time I've ever made an endorsement, never made an endorsement. I'm endorsing Donald J. Trump. Isn't that nice? So thank you, Buzz Aldrin. And I like him too. I've always admired him. Kamala and Joe call them all of those people that I just named and all of the people here. And I think probably more than 200 million people in this country. You know, we really don't know how many we have because those borders have been opened so badly, you don't know. You know, other countries can tell you approximately what they have. I don't think this country does. But let's say you had 350 million people. If she won, you'd have 600 million people in about 3 years. You'd have open borders, the whole world, every criminal from all over the world. Well, we're going to have that pretty soon anyway, but we're going to deport them out of here fast. But let's say 225 million people. She's essentially, and he's calling them garbage. They're a team, by the way. Oh, she hated that last night when she heard that. Although, honestly, I don't think she's smart enough to know what it really means. What that meant, that makes deplorable look like baby stuff, right? Deplorable with her. Remember Hillary? She said, deplorable and irredeemable. And I said, oh, what a terrible term to use the word irredeemable. I didn't know. Somehow irredeemable. I think it's worse, right? But you know what's worse than anything? Garbage. We're garbage. We're garbage. And I call you the heart and soul of America. You're the people that built America. And together on November 5th, we're going to bring our country back to levels of greatness never seen before. And I'll tell you, you know, look, North Carolina, it has been special. You know, when you just win a place, I love you. I love Alabama. In Alabama, I win by 48 points. Even you haven't caught us on that. Tennessee, we have so many great states that really love us. But you know, the nice thing is when you have a place that you can just rely on, where you can really rely. I love you too. Look at her. She's so beautiful. She's all excited. I love it. I do. And there's Mr. Wall. See that jacket? You know, he's a genius. He's one of the smart people. He makes a lot of money as a professional, but he likes these rallies. I think it's like 279 rallies. Can you believe it? He likes Trump. He likes Trump, and I like him. I feel comfortable because it's a wall. We always needed a wall. And one day I'm going to find out where you bought that suit, and I'm going to wear it to one last, because, you know, it's sad. We've done this for 9 years. We had the greatest rallies in the history of the world. Chancellors and prime ministers, people would tell me they watch the rallies from Europe. Everybody watches our rallies. Everybody loves our rallies. We never have an empty seat. They try and demean us like that horrible, horrible person that I debated where she said, and people leave early. Nobody leaves early. If I saw them leaving early, you know what I would say? And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and make America great again, and I'd leave. Right? That way they could, but I've never had to do that. I'm very capable of doing that, you know? But nobody should say, or people leave early. And then I hit her hard on that. I said, no, we have the greatest rallies in the world. There's never an empty seat, and nobody leaves early. And they said, and the fake news people, like Brit Hume, the fake news people said, oh, he fell into a trap. She's got no trap. She's got no, it's not a trap. When somebody says something, you have, and it's wrong, you like to say, no, that's not, it takes about 5 seconds. And you want to put it on the record that they're wrong. He fell into a trap. The real trap was you had David Muir during the debate. I had the Biden debate, and that didn't work out too well for him. And then we had the other one, and I think I did better, the second one with her. You know, she talked about the grass. What are you going to do about the economy? Well, I grew up in an area where I had a grass yard. Saying, I actually think in a certain way Biden was better than her, okay? But you know, you had David Muir, and I said, crime is soaring all over our nation. The migrants are pouring in. And he said, and he stops me. Crime is not soaring. Crime is going down, because he believed the FBI statistics, which were a fraud. And then it came out the following day that crime was in fact soaring at levels that nobody had ever seen before. They didn't include certain cities. I won't mention the cities because I have a lot of friends in those cities. But they didn't include certain cities for their statistical review. What a shame. What a shame. We need great FBI. The people in the FBI are so incredible, too. I'll bet you if they took a poll in the FBI, I think I'd be at 97, 98%. I really believe it, you know? I think I'd be. But they have some people that just don't want to do it. Don't want to do their job properly. It's a shame. We have a lot of things we're going to correct in this country. We have to correct them because we need honesty. We just need some basic truth. But David Muir, so this guy David Muir, you know, pretty boy, he goes, that's stuff. I don't think he's that good looking anymore. Time does that. Time does that. No, but that's terrible. He interrupted me like, 11 times or something, right? Every time I said something, that's not so. And then he had a woman who I never heard of. Don't know her name, don't want to know her name. She's not very good at what she does either. But when he didn't interrupt me, she did. And if you look, I was right about just about Mr. Congressman. I think just about everything. I was right about just about everything. He said, Trump was right about everything. How about the hat? Trump was right about everything. Trump was right about everything. But we've said, now, but think of it. So that must have been the first one. I followed that storm right in. But I saw the devastation. I actually came back the following week because I didn't want to get in anyone's way. It was a travesty. It was vicious. It was water. The water was the worst we'd ever seen. It was a water hurricane. That's what it was. And it took houses right off the foundations and ripped the foundations, concrete foundations, like they were paper. And I saw areas that were just like gone. And yet you've set an all-time record in early voting. Think of it, the deadline you have set up till the date. Now, here are people, I'm talking about most of you who come from this area. Some people are coming from outside of North Carolina, but in North Carolina, These are people that have been devastated. They've lost their homes. At a minimum, especially in certain areas, they broke records in every single area. And some of the people, they didn't even have a home anymore. They were living in tents. No, but how great. And then those lowlifes call you garbage. No, think of that. Think of how bad it is. They have the nerve to say that. Think of the fact, when we were looking at the numbers in the various states, and we came to North Carolina, and it just was hit by that horrible hurricane, and it just hit the hardest. I mean, others were hit badly too, but you were just wiped out. I said, if we get 30% of the people to vote, and it was pretty much a Trump district, most of the area. I said, wow, that's bad. That's bad for a lot of reasons. Number one was it's bad, and people died. That's by far the most important. But from the standpoint of the voting, I said, if we get 30 or 40%, that's amazing. That'll be amazing. They broke the all-time record. Think of it. Think of it. Amazing. No. You're superior people, okay? Not garbage. You're superior people. If anybody would have eaten, nobody. I went to one of the big pollsters. I was talking to him right after we got those numbers, because the numbers are coming in great. We're doing great in North Carolina. That doesn't mean you don't vote. Now you go on Tuesday and you just vote, right? But you got it. He says, we've got you. But when you think, I said to a pollster, I said, what do you think the chances? He said, it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen as a pollster. And I guess some people had to come back, and you couldn't even come back because you had areas of land with no river, and now it's all of a sudden landlocked. It's all waterlocked. I just think it's incredible. I think it's a great tribute to North Carolina, and I'd like to thank you very much. Amazing. It's amazing. You are hardy people. You are hardy people, aren't you? Look, she knows what I'm talking about. She knows what I'm talking about. The deadline for in-person early voting in North Carolina is Saturday, but you can do that, or you just come. You come whenever you want. I'm one that was saying, a lot of people say vote early. That's great. But the main thing is vote. You got to vote. We got to vote. You got to vote. Republicans tend to vote on Election Day, and they like to make sure, I think, that vote goes into a box, somewhere, and then they want to watch where the box goes to. But you got to just vote. And I think we're going to have this is a very important state. We win this state, we're sailing. We're sailing. We win this state, we're sailing. So if you have a ballot, send it in, or get everyone vote. You're going to vote, and we're going to have record numbers. I think you're going to have, we're heading to record numbers in North Carolina despite one of the worst hurricanes anyone's ever seen. And I will say this about my competition. They did a horrible job of rescue and help. One of the worst. And I don't even believe it was because it was largely a Republican area. I think they did it because they're incompetent, okay? They did a horrible job, one of the worst jobs since Katrina, but some people say it was a worse job. Nobody's even showing up. You don't even see. And then you learn that they've spent almost $1 billion and they don't have any money for North Carolina or Georgia, or a lot of the other states, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina. I mean, think of it. Georgia got hit so hard. But then you find out, and then you listen, and you find out that they don't have any money. FEMA, because they spent their money. FEMA spent money on bringing illegal aliens into our country. I'll tell you something. First of all, it's going to take a while anyway. They should be there. There's nobody even sees anybody from the federal government. Who's done a good job? Franklin Graham. He's in here. He better do a good job. I gave him $7 million. He better. I'm only kidding. No, we gave him a lot because he does the best. He does a great job, and they have some others that do a great job. But we gave him a lot of money, raised a lot of money for him, and he is always, every time I have, because I've seen a lot of tornadoes and hurricanes and horrible storms, and every time I get there, he's always there with his crew of volunteers. It's pretty amazing, actually. Franklin Graham, he does a great job. Got good genes. He's got very good genes. My father used to take me to Yankee Stadium to watch Billy Graham fill up Yankee Stadium. He filled it up like it was nothing. And my father liked going to see Billy Graham. With your help, 6 days from now, we're going to defeat Kamala Harris, and we're going to win back that beautiful, beautiful White House. We're going to win it back. Kamala Harris cast the deciding votes that launched the worst inflation in the history of our country. She cost a typical American family over $30,000 in higher prices. They basically spent too much money and screwed up my energy policies. We had gas at $1.84. I thought it was $1.87. Just came out 2 days ago, $1.84. It was lower than it. A lot of people say $2.50. No, not $2.50. It's $1.84 a gallon. How would you like to have $1.84 a gallon now? We'll have it. We're going to have it again. Liquid gold. It was just announced today that economic growth missed expectations again for this quarter. It's always missing. This economy is a disaster, and now Kamala wants to raise the typical family taxes by at least $3,000 a year. If I win, we will rapidly defeat inflation. Oh, we'll have it done so. I'm going to bring your energy down to 1/2 of what it is now. It's going to go, in 1 year, we'll have it down 50%. And that'll bring everything else down, and we're going to bring the interest rates down, and we're going to make America affordable again. We will make America affordable again. Because we have this huge spike that took place over 3 years, massive spike. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And none of that's come down. Bacon hasn't come down. Apples haven't come down. Lettuce, nothing's come down. People so often, they talk about groceries. They haven't come down. I will massively cut taxes for workers and small businesses. And we will have a very special kind of a thing happen. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits for our seniors. None. Thank you. No, if you think our seniors, they have a very fixed income, most of them. I'm a senior too. Somebody would say, oh, he's doing that, he has a conflict of interest. These fakers back here, they'll say, here's a conflict of interest. He's a senior. He's given himself a big tax break. No, we're not gonna let that happen. But the seniors, a lot of seniors have a fixed income, and their Social Security. I mean, it's what's happened to all of the other things, and this will get you back to even, pretty much even, I think, by doing it. And I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of their parent or loved ones. And I said this almost a week ago, and guess what? Last night, Kamala said the same thing. She copied my no tax on tips, but you know what? She's not going to do it. She only said it a couple of times. She said it because she got killed when she said that. But now, last night, I don't know if you noticed, last night she copied the caregiver statement. And let me tell you, these people that take care of their family and other people, these are incredible people, and they're entitled to it. They're entitled to it. They got to get it. Starting on day one, she copied me last night. Of my new administration, I will bring back energy independence, like we had it. We were energy independent 4 years ago. Now we get our oil from Venezuela. It's called Venezuelan tar. It comes like in tar, and you got to heat the hell out of it. And there's only one plant in the whole world that can do it, and that's located in Houston. So for the environmentalists, go take a look at those chimneys in Houston. It's not a pretty sight. I will bring back energy independence, and we will drill, baby, drill, and we're going to start right from the beginning. And to get back our millions of jobs that have been lost, we will give our companies the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burdens, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet. That's us. But we're not going to have that good market anymore if we don't stop it right now, because we're losing it. But only for those companies that make their product here in the USA and hire American workers for the job. And if these companies don't make their products here, then they will be paying a stiff tariff when they send their products into the United States for the privilege of competing with our workers and our now protected companies. They're gonna pay a stiff price. They're gonna pay a stiff price. So we're gonna protect. We have to protect, because they take our companies, they move them into Mexico, and it's pretty incredible. And you heard that I knocked out the biggest auto plant anywhere in the world. I just knocked it out. I did it without even being president. I told them they were building in Mexico, China, the largest auto plant anywhere in the world, and they were going to send those cars into us, and they were going to destroy Detroit. They were going to destroy Michigan and a little bit of South Carolina, where they have sort of a different system. They were going to destroy our auto manufacturing. The little that we have left, we probably have 40% compared to what we had years ago. And they were going to destroy, they were going to build the biggest auto plant in the world, and I heard about it through a man that was building the plant, the best in the world. He builds all the plants. I said, I want to see a plant. He said, you'll have to go to Mexico. I said, I don't want to go. I want to see one here. He said, we don't really build them here anymore. We build them in other places, but we build a lot. And Mexico is a real threat. Don't kid yourself. What they're doing in Mexico. And so I said, I don't want to go to Mexico. What are they doing over there? They're building some of the biggest plants in the world. One in particular. I said, wow, that's no good. I thought about it. Then I spoke before the Economic Forum in Detroit, very nice group of people. And I said, you guys are losing your shirts, and Detroit is, making a comeback for 40 years. It's time now. We got to bring some companies back here. And I didn't like what I heard, because when they make millions of cars out of something where you literally press a button and it makes cars, when that happens, that's no good for us, because they're going to just flood the market and destroy everything that we have in Michigan and Detroit. And some, where you have it, some, you do big parts business, very big parts business here. So they're going to destroy you. So I announced that I'm going to put a 100% tariff on that plant. And I saw the man about 2 weeks ago. He was in the audience, the man that builds the plants. And I said, John, could I talk to you for a second? I pull him aside. How's that big plant coming in Mexico? Sir, they've decided not to build. They think you're going to become president, and they'll lose their shirt. They're not building the plant. They're not building it, huh? Look at Emmer. Emmer likes that. Now, can you imagine that? They're not building the plant. They're not going to build the plant. And that's the way it's going to be. It's going to be real simple. And you know what? If they built the plant in this country, I'm okay with it. They can build it. They don't have any tariff to pay. They have no tariff to pay. It's very simple. And some of the deals made with these politicians, they were either really stupid or crooked as hell. Because this could have been done. And I've done it. I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. Hundreds of billions of dollars. They've never paid anything. They never gave one president 10 cents. I took hundreds of billions, and from other countries, and we were just getting started. Anyway, we'll also pass what's known as the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That means if China or any other country charges us 100 or 200% tariff or tax, then we will charge them 100 or 200% tariff or tax in return. It's an eye for an eye. And I will never apologize for defending America. I will protect our workers. I will protect our jobs. I will protect our borders. I will protect our families. And I will protect the birthright of our children to live in the richest and most powerful nation on the face of the earth. And as we rescue our economy, I will also restore our borders. Over the past 4 years, you see what's been happening. It's carnage. It's carnage. It's a carnage. Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted on our people. What she's done. She has violated her oath and eradicated our sovereign border and unleashed an army of migrant gangs who are waging a campaign of violence and terror against the citizens of the United States of America. Kamala has imported criminal migrants from prisons and jails, from insane asylums and mental institutions, the most dangerous anywhere in the world, and from all around the world. From Venezuela to Congo, the Congo and Africa, they're sending us large numbers of prisoners from the Congo and Africa. Congratulations, welcome to the United States. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from all over. They're coming from Europe. They're coming from Asia. And a lot are coming from South America, but not all. They're coming from all over the world. They're emptying their prisons into the United States. They're emptying their mental institutions into the United States. They're going to be empty very soon. And you know what's happened to their crime rates in places like Venezuela? Whoa, way down. They've taken their street gangs and they brought them into the United States. And they said, if you ever come back, you will die. We're going to kill you. That's what they tell them. So these are including savage criminals who assault, rape, and murder our women, our girls. What they do to our families is outrageous. And my people told me, please, please don't say you're going to protect women. Women don't want you to say that. I said, really? Why? This is my geniuses. These are the people we pay all this money to give you political advice. I said, why? Women don't want to be protected, sir. I said, really? I don't think so. They want to be attacked by MS-13. Is that what they want? They want MS-13 to go in and knock their door down and do bad things? No, I don't think so. I think women, I'm going to protect the women, I'm going to protect the children, and I'm going to protect the men. I'm going to protect everybody from these animals that have been unleashed into our country and from foreign powers. Look, I mean, is there any woman in the audience, please, that does not seek protection? Please raise your hand. Is there any woman in the audience that wants to be protected? I think so. Okay, let's fire those people, please. They're all fired. They meant well. Anyone who would let monsters kidnap and kill our children does not belong anywhere near the Oval Office, and she has set a record. And today I want you to hear something that's very disturbing. Everybody, I just came out, just was done. Everybody that's heard it, I've seen tough people, very tough men, literally crying watching it. We just put it out just now. But I want you to hear it directly from a mother whose world has been shattered by the open borders insanity of Kamala Harris. Please.
Sunday night, I asked her to not stay up super late because of her coming to work with me in the morning to do her summer school. She said, okay. I told her good night and I love you. I went to bed, not realizing that was going to be the last time I saw her.
We're best friends.
Yeah.
We're going to shake it again.
I woke up to notice she wasn't in her bed. I'm in my heart trying not to lose my mind because I don't know where she is. I finally remembered her phone had a location on, and her phone was pinging just 2 minutes down the road, right behind the skate park. I start driving to the direction the phone was being pinged at, and I see a couple cop cars with lights on. I see yellow tape. And immediately my heart drops and sinks to the bottom of my stomach. My daughter's hands and ankles were both bound. She was strangled to death, left with no pants. And I know in my heart, she fought incredibly hard. She was not going down without a fight.
We begin with two men we're learning are charged with capital murder tonight, accused of killing a 12-year-old girl.
Police say these men strangled her before dumping her into that creek. Both men were in the country illegally.
Apprehended, then released by Border Patrol less than 3 weeks before Jocelyn's death. The men accused of killing Jocelyn Nungare are affiliated with the gang known for brutal violence.
Kamala Harris was in charge of immigration in our borders. If we had better border policies and not open borders and not these catch and release policies, I truly believe this all could have been prevented. Under her being vice president of this country, my daughter's life was ripped away from her. She had her entire life ahead of her.
Happy birthday, dear Jocelyn.
My daughter is 6 feet in the ground based off of policies that she allowed to keep. Kamala Harris did have one job, and she not only failed, not me, she failed my daughter, she failed Jocelyn. You know, she was only 12. President Trump reached out, gave me his sincerest condolences as not a former president, but just as a father, someone who cares. I believe Donald Trump needs to be back in office. I can at least know that my next child will be safe in this country.
There's just no reason for it. Thank you very much. No reason. There's no reason for that. Thank you very much. But there's no reason for that. Open borders, open borders. Anybody comes in, doesn't matter where you come from. They don't even know where they come from. They don't check them. They don't know where they come. Are they from jails? They don't know anything about them. They just let them pour into our country. It's incredible. Now she's sort of stopped it by doing just a little bit because she was getting killed in the polls. And if they ever won, they would open those borders and you would have millions and millions more people come in, and there'd be criminals. If I ran one of the countries that we're talking about, and over the last few months, it was 181 different countries. Most people don't even know there are that many. There are actually more. 181 countries were represented, and they're letting their criminals and their jails and everything into our country. They're destroying our country. They're destroying our country. And we can't take it any longer. We have to change. We have to change immediately. I think it's the biggest problem. I think it's bigger than the economy. I think it's bigger than inflation, because they're ruining the fabric of our country. You're not going to be able to walk out of your house no matter where you live. If you're in a farm, they're flying people in with the big Boeing jets, the biggest ones, and they're taking hundreds of them in. They're landing in the Midwest and all over the place. They're flying them right over the border. They're sick. The day I take the oath of office, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins. The savages charged with brutalizing and murdering precious Jocelyn are members of the same vicious Venezuelan prison gang, Tren de Aragua, that's taking over apartment complexes and unleashing a violent killing spree all over America. You've read about them in Colorado, Aurora, Colorado. They've taken over complexes. They've taken them away from landlords. They've told people to get out. They've told the people, you pay us the rent from now on. You don't pay it to a landlord. You don't pay it to a property owner. You pay it to us. They've even taken over Times Square. Take a look.
Open borders, deadly consequences.
Border crisis. Record high crossings are putting a strain on cities across America. It is a full-blown invasion.
Armed Venezuelan gang members storming an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado.
When people talk about migrant crime, this is what they're talking about.
San Antonio, Texas, just one of the latest cities to have apartment complexes taken over
by members of the Venezuelan gang.
Biden and Harris had created a program to bring them in under humanitarian parole.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been released into the United States.
My 20-year-old daughter, Kayla Hamilton, was murdered in her own room. Kayla's murderer was apprehended by Border Patrol crossing illegally into the U.S.
Kayla's murderer had been improperly released into the United States.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
More than a dozen people suspected of being Tren de Aragua gang members right here in San Antonio.
The gang members had been terrorizing the apartment complex.
New details in the murder of Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national.
He was paroled and released into the country by the Biden administration.
If they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
Martinez and Angel wrapped his arms around Jocelyn's neck, took off her pants, and climbed on top of her. Later strangled Jocelyn to death and then tied up her hands and feet.
Court documents suggest a group of men arrested for beating and robbing a Dallas woman last month are members of a Venezuelan street gang.
The men threatened to cut off her fingers if she did not cooperate. Manuel Hernandez was booked by Colleyville police just 2 days earlier and released the day before the robbery.
A Peruvian gang leader who was wanted for 23 murders, who was arrested by Border Patrol near Rolla, Texas, then released into America.
This is what we have coming into our country. The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. We will not let this happen. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It'll be Liberation Day. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. I will rescue every city and town that's been invaded and conquered, and we will put these vicious and bloodthirsty criminals in jail or kick them the hell out of our country. And to expedite removals of Tren de Aragua and MS-13 and all of these gangs that are now living happily in our country, I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Can you believe that? To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. And if they come back into our country, it's an automatic 10 years in jail with no possibility of parole. And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement official. And I will immediately ban all sanctuary cities in the United States of America. With their open borders, they're going to destroy your Social Security and Medicare. They're going to destroy our health care, but I'm going to save it all, and I'm going to save our country. That's what we're going to do. These people are all signing up. Kamala's gross incompetence, she's a grossly incompetent person, disqualifies her from being president of the United States. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. To make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions and millions of people. She would get us into World War III because she is too grossly incompetent to do the job, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting draft notices. They'll come, Mommy, Daddy, what does this mean? Son, even daughter, that means that you're going to be drafted to fight in a war against a country that you've never heard of. Congratulations, son, and it may be the last time you ever see them. We're not going to let that happen anymore in this country. Our enemies are laughing at her. If we win, America will be feared and respected again. On issue after issue, Kamala broke it, and I will fix it, and I'll fix it quickly. On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden, which in itself is disqualifying. Take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers. Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022. Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
U.S. inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
There is not a thing that comes to mind. So maybe the worst thing that we could be talking about, 325,000 children that the press never talks about. 325,000 children have come into our country and they're now missing. They're going to be dead, or they're going to be sex slaves or slaves of some kind. 325,000 children, many of them are dead. And she said there's not a thing that comes to mind. You know, they just like she's a fraud. She's a total fraud. She's a liar. She even lied about McDonald's, didn't she, huh? But she's a total liar. They lied about 818,000 jobs that they said we built up over the course of their wonderful management. It turned out to be a total fraud. And they weren't going to announce that until after the election, but we had a whistleblower that called them in. You remember that just a few months ago, they said 18,000 jobs were created, and they weren't. They're fake jobs. And they were going to release the correct information. They were going to do a little deletion, and they were going to release it right after the election, but they got caught. We can't let ourselves be duped by these people. These are criminal people as far as I'm concerned. We're thrilled to be joined by representatives, and they're great warriors, and they're friends of mine, and they fight side by side. Congressman Richard Hudson. Richard, thank you very much. Great job he's doing. One of the most powerful people in Washington, a great congressman, Tom Emmer. Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. And another great friend is Byron Donalds. He's fantastic. And you have a congressional candidate that I know is going to win. She's up in the polls. She's doing great. Lori Buckout. She's fantastic. And she's got my complete and total endorsement. And somebody that is a star, well, I'll let you know that on the 6th. Is that okay? But I think he's a star. North Carolina GOP Chair Jason Simmons. Jason, thank you. Great. So I also want to say hello to Keith Kellogg, General Kellogg. He's one of our really great generals. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Keith. Been with me right from the beginning, right? From day one. And my son-in-law, Michael. Michael is a fantastic young guy. I have to introduce him. Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much. Thank you, Michael. I also want to send our prayers to everyone in North Carolina and other states still recovering from the hurricanes. If I win, we will get them and we will support you. You know, on January 20th, it's not too far away anymore. January 20th is when you take office. We'll have people here so much you will say, please, we got too many people. Get them out of here. We have too many people. We had great success with FEMA. And if you know, it would be amazing. It's been acknowledged that the hurricane rescue effort and rebuilding effort is the worst that we've just about ever seen, outside of maybe Katrina, but I think it's worse. There's nobody even here, and the devastation is incredible. And how the hell could you vote for somebody that's in charge of it, right? So I don't think you're going to vote for Kamala. Here are the facts. Kamala is a radical left Marxist, rated even worse than crazy Bernie Sanders or Pocahontas herself. She destroyed our economy. She was an original creator of defund the police movement, and anybody who wants to defund the police for even 1 week or 1 day is not worthy of being president of the United States. Kamala vowed to abolish ICE, our great heroes of ICE. As California Attorney General, she redefined child sex trafficking, assault with a deadly weapon, and rape of an unconscious person as totally nonviolent crimes. She pledged to confiscate your guns and endorsed a total ban on handgun ownership. Would anybody in North Carolina want to give up your guns quietly? Oh. Oh, it could have had an impact on my hearing for the rest of my life. That's not going to be an easy job, is it? No, but that's where she comes from. She even called for free sex changes for illegal aliens in detention at taxpayer expense. So in conclusion, with your vote this November, we are going to fire Kamala and we're going to save America. Gonna get her out. Gonna get her out. Right? Command? We're gonna get her out. We will cut your taxes, end inflation, slash your prices, raise your wages, and bring thousands of factories back to America and back to North Carolina where they belong. And I have a little personal favor that I'm going to do, North Carolina. I'm going to get your furniture builders and artists and manufacturers. We're going to bring them back. They left you for China. They're going to be coming back because this is where they want to be. I came down here so many times. I'd build a hotel. I said, I want to go to North Carolina. I came so much. I'd say, no, I like the arm to be a little bit on that chair, a little bing, 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 bing. These guys were so good. And now you have just a fraction of what you had. You had the best in the world. I'd buy from China, and then they'd sit in the chair. Then the chair would collapse, and I'd get sued. This is true. They'd sue me because the damn chair would break at a hotel. Mr. Jones would sit down. He's slightly overweight, like about 200 pounds. He'd sit in that chair, and the thing collapses. The next thing I know, sir, you've been sued by Mr. Jones of someplace. No, you built the greatest furniture in the world, and you're going to be doing it again. You're doing it a little bit, but you're going to be doing it again. We will build American, we will buy American, and we will hire American. I will end the war in Ukraine. It would have never started if I were president. I will stop the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent World War III from happening. I will crush violent crime and give our police the support, protection, resources, and respect that they so dearly deserve. We're going to take care of our police. We will strengthen and modernize our military. I rebuilt our military, and they gave a lot of it away to a place called Afghanistan in the most embarrassing moment of our country's life. We will build a missile defense shield massively. We are going to build the greatest, the biggest missile defense shield. A lot of it's going to be made right in the USA. It's all going to be made in the USA. It's going to be made right here, though, a lot of it. We will rebuild our cities, including our capital in Washington, D.C., which is horribly run, which is filthy dirty, with graffiti all over columns and lions and everything else. And we're going to take care of our capital. We're going to make it beautiful and safe. We're not going to have people being killed there, but we're going to make our cities beautiful, clean, safe again. We will teach our children to love our country, to honor our history, and to always respect our great American flag. And we will get critical race theory and transgender insanity out of our schools. And we will keep men out of women's sports, if that's okay. I will defend religious liberty. I will restore free speech. And I will defend the right to keep and bear arms, your Second Amendment. And I have everybody's endorsement, including the NRA, and always have had it. And it is under siege. Your Second Amendment is under siege. After years of building up foreign nations, defending foreign borders, and protecting foreign lands, we are finally going to build up our country, defend our borders, and protect our citizens. And we will stop illegal immigration once and for all. We will not be invaded. We will not be occupied. We will not be overrun. We will not be conquered. We will not be conquered. They are conquering us. They are conquering us from within. We will be a free and proud nation once again. Everyone will prosper. Every family will thrive. And every day will be filled with opportunity and hope, and will be filled also with a thing called the American dream, something you don't hear about so much anymore. But for that to happen, we must defeat Kamala Harris and stop her radical left agenda with a landslide that is too big to rig. You need to get out and vote. That's all you don't have to give me money. You don't have to give me anything. Just go out and vote. Who has voted so far? Oh. Who is going to vote? Okay, get out. Every vote. Thank you very much. That's very impressive. For the past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. With your vote this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. Belongs to you guys. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and 6 days from now, it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help from now until Election Day, 6 days, we will restore America's promise, and we will take back the nation that we all love. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever surrender. Together we will fight, 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 and win, win, win. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country, and together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you, North Carolina. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, so you just heard Trump dishing it out. What's amazing to me is the amount of young people in the background. It looks to be like a lot of college-age kids, younger people, not just people my age. That's amazing. If he's getting that kind of a youth vote, that is extremely encouraging for what's going on. There's the dance. The man knows he's I got some stuff to tell you that happened while this was going on. I'm getting texts and people are sending me information. Earlier, as you watch him dance and greet people, earlier I showed you how the Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, the three lame liberal judges were the ones who didn't want it to happen, but they were able to basically overturn the lower court's ruling and say, no, you can't have non-citizens voting in elections. None of this crap with these newcomers. And that is a absolute seismic decision. Because it came from the Supreme Court, it is now going to set precedent. Meaning other states that want to use it, the liberal states won't use it probably, they won't even bring it up, but the other states at this point can begin using that as precedent to get these non-citizens off their rolls. We're seeing things happen now so quickly. Remember, that stuff happened with Glenn Youngkin in Virginia 10 days ago. They jumped in and tried to basically sue and force Virginia to accept basically newcomers voting. They tried to force it down Virginia's throat. So within 10 days, they were able to appeal it to appeal it to the appellate court and then jump right to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court entered their decision today. Those things weren't happening in Trump's favor in 2020. If you remember, many court battles, they looked the other way. They said you didn't have any standing, you can't do this, and they just ignored it. For whatever reason, they completely ignored just about every single court case that Trump put up. So this was huge that the Supreme Court stepped in that early and said, no, boom, quickly, emergency filing, it's not going to happen. So today, let me just tell you what happened yesterday. Yesterday, we saw this happen. Well, I'm not sure if you did. Maybe if you lived in Pennsylvania. Just in, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, emergency services just shut down the voting line in Doylestown. This is hours before they were supposed to. And this comes after countless reports of voter intimidation and shenanigans in the same county. So what happened was, these guys, these jackbooted thugs, decided while people were still voting, while they were still in line to vote, they were just going to saunter on out there and stick the sign up and say, that's it, no more votes. And then stand there and not let anybody else get in line. They don't have the authority to do that. Not knowing who sent them out there, but they decided themselves they're going to make it so, hey, listen, it's over. What do you mean? I'm here. I should be. No, man, not going to vote. Today, actually, not even, yeah, it was today, but just minutes ago, 14 minutes ago, 14 minutes, bam, Trump wins lawsuit to extend Bucks County, Pennsylvania early voting until 5 p.m. Friday after their voter suppression tactics. The Trump campaign has won the lawsuit in Pennsylvania against Bucks County after they shut off voting lines early yesterday. We are winning. One day. So those of you who are worried about the cheat, this isn't like 2020. This isn't your grandma's 2020 election. I don't know what Laura Trump and Michael Whatley have put together, but they've got people watching. They're getting people reporting. It's getting on Twitter. Hey, let me take a picture of this. It's getting on Twitter or /X right away. And then when they get the reports, bam, they're getting right out there, throwing a lawsuit down and doing things. Today, whatever the judge said, yeah, that's pretty bad. We're not just going to give you an extra day. We're going to give you an extra 2 days. Yeah, they should not have done that. That was against the law. That should make many of you just go, ooh, somebody's on something. Somebody's really on it. They're there so quickly. I want to show you something in case you don't know. And I want to make you aware of this. This is something else that Elon Musk is doing, which is driving them bat poop crazy. Let me see if I can find this, because this is absolutely incredible when you see it. And this is part of the reason things are happening. he set up, I'm looking for it so I can bring it to you because I didn't plan on doing it, but seeing what's happened. Okay, here it is. You are now a citizen journalist. You now have the power to report anything you see funky. This is what Elon Musk has posted and put together. Let me boom. If you are aware of any election integrity issues, please report them to the election integrity community. So he has set up his own little thing where you now have the easiest way to report something. Why do you get on X? Because they don't got it here. They don't got it on Facebook. Nobody cares if shit happens and Trump supporters can't vote. Elon, with his platform, has said, let me create a box where you guys can report things instantaneously as they happen. And so people are using it. It went out last night. Look at this. This was at 9:55 p.m. last night, October 29th, and it's already been seen by 23 million people. And so here is, just like my community, they have the election integrity community, and it's got 42,000 members, and their goal here is safe and secure elections are essential to having a functioning republic. We have started an X community dedicated to sharing potential instances of voter fraud and irregularities that Americans are experiencing in the 2024 election. Share what you see while voting right here. And so if you haven't joined our community, what you're going to see there, same thing on this thing, is you're going to see people reporting stuff over and over. Hey, check this out. Hey, you might want to get... And it's got the eyes of Elon Musk and the power of his platform. And so we're seeing things happen so quickly right now. I mean, think about it. From the time that the judge overturned the Virginia law that said you have to let the newcomers vote, to the Supreme Court saying, they can't vote. They went from that day to having a decision in less than 10 days. This lawsuit, based on something that was reported yesterday at 5 o'clock to basically this afternoon, boom, lawsuit, judge says can't do that, give them an extra 2 days. This isn't what happened in 2020, so I hope it just makes a bunch of you people feel more comfortable that there are people watching. There are people looking to see what is going on, and if they see these discrepancies, they now have some place to report them. Remember in 2020, couldn't do it. X was deleting stuff. Biden and their minions were working with Jack Dorsey and Twitter back then and saying delete that, delete that, delete that. Don't give it any air. Facebook, they boom, 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 delete everything. And now you have an option. You have the ability to see something and truly say something. And it's being watched by Elon and his staff, and I'm sure what they'll do is they probably have lawyers sitting by, or somebody's watching this and going, hey, look, this just happened here. What do you want to do about it? Okay, let's get it over to Laura Trump. And conversely, let's get it over to the Harris campaign. We'll give it to them. They ain't gonna do nothing about it, but at least if we get it to both, then nobody can really complain that we were just working on behalf of Trump. Let's bubble up all the problems. So if you see something, notice the other day I showed you the video of the burning ballot box. We may not have ever seen that before. Now in 2024, it got out there. And immediately once it got out there, somebody said, hey, there's a camera up on that pole. Somebody had to have seen something. And it happens that fast. That fast. So if you see something, make sure that you actually say something and work with each other to report stuff instantly. And I'll show that one more time in case you guys want to go there. It is the X America PAC Election Integrity Community. And it's right on X, and if you don't know how to get there, you can just, basically, I'll put a link to it in the description in this video and copy it, or I'll do one better. I'll actually post it in our community. That way, when you get over and you decide to join our community, it will be there. I will put that link in the very top. It will say hashtag integrity. And that way you can just click on that, boom, you'll see the post and get a link to it and just go ahead and report something that you may see. This election is different. And I could spend a long time telling you all the difference, but the biggest difference is you have a voice. You have the ability to speak and tell people things and get something to them if you see irregularities. And what you've seen just today in the videos I've shown you is the responsiveness of the courts. The courts are actually doing what they're supposed to do. I don't know what happened in the back end, but it seems as though people learned from 2020. Oh, wait a minute, they kept getting denied on standing. And over the last 4 years, they probably got together and said, here's how we have to file it, because if they kept getting denied on standing, now we know what to do to get these things in front of a judge where they can't just ignore it. The Democrats have to be freaking out. While I'm sitting here, I've been getting all kinds of DMs and stuff, and everything on the news at this point, you're not going to believe it, they're actually supporting Biden calling all of this garbage. That's how you know they've got nothing. Whoopi Goldberg out there freaking out, calling people, oh, he was right by calling all y'all garbage. And CNN, they had another episode where a guy said, you know, they need to say it even more. Please, 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 please. Please, I beg you to keep calling us garbage. If there's nothing I want for Christmas, Lord, then please have these people continue to call us garbage publicly on television. If you really think you got it like that and that Americans aren't paying attention, keep going. We're all garbage. Yep, we're all garbage. Bring that message, idiots. I can't believe they would actually be promoting it now. If I have to, you know what I'll do at the 6:30 show, I'll get some of those segments where people are telling them to actually, yeah, do it. It'll actually make your case look stronger if you keep calling people garbage. Yeah, that's that nuts. Just want to also tell you, and usually I do this at the beginning of the show, but I can do it at the middle of the show or towards the end of the show as well. But I want you guys to see this. This is the spot price of gold right now. Gold has hit yet another record, $2,800 an ounce. $2,800. I work with Lear Capital. I tell you, I've been telling you get prepared. You heard Dan Bongino say you need to get prepared. Y'all need to get prepared. There's a reason why gold is surging. If people weren't concerned about what's going to happen next week, it wouldn't be doing this. It would just be a normal gold market and silver market. When you go down here and you can see the chart, let me see if I can bring it up here. I'm a big proponent of data. And when I see charts that look like that, look at that. Look at that. You don't normally see that in stock markets. You don't usually see that in the gold market. There's a reason why you're seeing almost a 45-degree rise in price. The markets are freaking out. People are foreseeing danger ahead. These people are nuts. They're absolutely crazy. Now they want to bank on us being garbage. If you can afford it, buy gold. If you can't afford the gold, buy silver, but do something. If you see what's going on in the world right now and what may happen here in America, you may want to prepare and pay attention. You know that Lear Capital is a big supporter of this show. If you want to be protected in the event that things go off the wall, I advise you to look into buying gold and silver. We are all just one catastrophic event away from the value of the American dollar plunging. Do you know what's not plunging? Gold and silver. In fact, gold hit an all-time high recently. In fact, I think it hit it again today. I'm telling you now, make sure that you have some form of your money invested in precious metals. Lear Capital will ship your gold or your silver coins directly to your house. It's not just a certificate. You can store them in your gun safe, or you can store them off-site in a 24-hour protected facility. It's totally up to you. But when things go crazy here, or across the world, the value of the American dollar is going to decline. It's inevitable, and it might not even take a war. We may do it to ourselves. And I mean, if the Federal Reserve plays around with interest rates, the US dollar will likely decline in value as well. Meanwhile, you'll see gold and silver continue to rise in value. If you call Lear Capital, they will take the time to educate you and answer all of your questions about gold and silver. Just give them a call at 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry, that's me, Learberry.com, to download your free de-dollarization report. You should know that Lear Capital is an American company. If you call them today, you'll be speaking with people right here in the United States. Now is the time to take action. Don't wait until after the election. That could be too late. We all want Trump to be elected, but if he isn't, or if they find a way to steal it, you'd better be prepared. Call 800-601-5430 or go to Learberry.com. And when you call, ask them how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. There's absolutely no obligation to buy anything. Just free information on protecting your hard-earned dollars with gold and silver. You know, when you think about it, you're actually not buying anything. You're simply going to be exchanging dollars for gold, moving currency. Give them a call today. Tell them Barry sent you. Okay, so before we go here, I want to show you two things. And these two things are pretty interesting. I have a video. There's no sound to it, so I don't need to worry about that. But this is a video of someone who wants to be the leader of the free world. This is someone who's running for president. And this video was taken at the moment she got on the helicopter on Marine 1 or Marine 2 to take her back to the observatory last night. And it was after her rally and after she heard what Joe said. If you don't think this looks like a completely defeated person, someone who knows she's on stage just going through the motion, I don't know what to tell you. You got to see this. All right, you ready? Let me just go ahead and show this to you, because this is Kamala Harris in the helicopter. Look how she's sitting. Look at that face. Look at... do I got to keep doing this? Yeah, do you understand what Joe did? Joe did what? What did Joe do? And just complete sadness. Just... You think this woman who keeps calling Trump and saying that Trump must be tired, you think she's up for the job? That was only at about, what, 8:30? It's over. Now, what I talked about earlier, about the quickness and the way people are reacting to the potential cheating, Trump put this out at 7:22 this morning. You're on notice, Pennsylvania, is what I wrote. Pennsylvania is cheating and getting caught at large-scale levels rarely seen before. Report cheating to the authorities. Law enforcement must act now. 10:30 this morning. They're catching them. I know a lot of people, I see it all the time in the chat, over and over and over and over and over. They're going to cheat, they're going to cheat. Yes, they're going to cheat. The difference is, this time, they're getting caught. This time, people are finding them way early and going, saw what you're doing. There was one more I want to show you that was very interesting as well. Check this out. Let me dig it up real quick here. Yeah, you'll love this one. They're finding this stuff early. Michigan, one voter ID has put in 29 separate votes already. Yeah, nothing wrong here. All good. Move along. So look away. This one voter ID has 29 votes at various different addresses, and they've already caught them. I'm only showing this to you guys, and I could show you a bunch more. I mean, there's just so much happening so quickly right now. The reason I'm showing this to you, because I know a bunch of you are concerned about the cheating. Well, the thing with the cheating is, before nobody was paying attention and people didn't have a voice. So now if you're worried about the cheating, do something about it. Don't be silent. Don't just hang your head and said they're going to do it. Watch. Watch everything. Take pictures, take videos, post them, let people know. Somebody had to get that data to the Rasmussen report. I don't know how they were able to get this data. I mean, when you look at it, it's a raw picture of data that was taken from the state of Michigan. I have no idea how it got to them, but it got to them. There are people everywhere with their eyes open, embedded. What's his name? James O'Keefe is putting stuff out. It's amazing what people are doing at this point. So, yeah, definitely keep your eyes open and say something. Absolutely. Speak up, patriots. Yeah. Firing squad for cheaters. No need to waste tax money. The problem is they think it's 2020. They probably didn't change their methodology whatsoever. Hey, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to do it. And now they feel like cornered animals. When the Secretary of State of Colorado is out there posting the passcodes and passwords to their voting machines, she's actually posting them. Why would she do that if you lived in Colorado? Pretty much in the bag, isn't it? Might not be. There's a reason why they're scurrying. There's a reason why they're afraid. Scott Pressler is doing amazing work. Yes, don't vote by Dropbox. Took names, socials, Department of... they got them all. They're getting them. I talked to someone at Lear Capital about purchasing silver. I was told the minimum for purchasing is $5,000. That's not true, so I don't know who you talk to. So do me a favor. I don't know if you're trying to diminish them or something, but if you have a problem, call Lear Capital, ask for Kevin. Kevin is the CEO. Tell him Barry sent you, and specifically say what you just said to him. And I'm telling you, it's not true. Cornered animals will bite. Yeah, if we allow them to. Get a lawyer on it, Jeffrey. Same thing happened to my son. I'm not sure what that was about. Yeah, this is the comment of the day. We ain't taking no 2020 shit no more. I couldn't have said it better. Do something about it. Fight about it. Do something. Let's see here. Scott Pressler is now under investigation for false registration of people. Of course he is. Of course. Of course Merrick Garland would do something stupid like that. Just saw a video saying Trump is killing women. Oh, man, can you smell the desperation at this point? Can you smell the desperation with these people? Before we go, let me just go ahead and check the poly market numbers and show that to you, because at this point, nothing changed. It's still 66.1 to 33. He's still up by 33 points. Let me just show that to you. 66.1 to 33.8. We're going to get together at 6:30 tonight for the rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin with Brett Favre. I'd love to have you guys. Go ahead and look for the notification, because sometimes they don't really show. But thank you for tuning in for the mid-morning, mid-afternoon rally. See you guys in a couple of hours. Oh, and if you want to join our forum, just like on X, go to fanfareshop.org/group. And join what's close to 7,000 patriots. Thanks for tuning in.